Hello and welcome to D6 Damage Wargaming, where tonight we're doing another episode of DamageCast, our Warhammer related podcasty type thing.
Talking.
So hello and welcome back. If you are new around here, feel free to drop us a sub or a like if you like what you see and all that YouTube-y type stuff. But tonight we will be talking, this is going to be our top 5 Warhammer experiences. So that's not just solely to do with rolling dice and all that sort of thing, just your experiences in the Warhammer hobby. And
good or bad, I guess.
Yeah, good or bad, but just memorable, memorable times. But hobby related wise, Paul, how have you been getting on this week, mate?
I've been putting off the terrain still, so that's still being sat on the shelf.
As is tradition.
as is tradition with terrain. You just sits on the shelf until you really, really have to do it. So I mean, it's primed. It's zenithal highlighted. I just need to work out what color I'm going to do the stones. From what I've seen of our board that we got doing, I'll probably do them grey to match that. I was going to do them to match the board itself.
Yeah.
But I think because the walls are grey, I think I can tie them into that, which should be giving me much to do to them. It's just picking out obviously all the little metal bits and skulls. I've got that to do. I've also, like we were just mentioning, I've lost the shields and the weapons that go up against the wall. They're on my paint desk somewhere. I haven't got a large paint desk, so they'll be there. They're here somewhere, but it's annoying because I was going to do that whilst we chatted because there's a lot of little bits I could paint up.
Yeah.
So if you see me looking away a lot, it's me trying to find that.
Yeah.
But the other thing I've been doing is I got myself a box of the Assault Intercessors.
Ooh.
Yes. So and I've been painting them up for my Blood Angels, but I've done them instead of doing the Blood Angel red or Mephiston red, which is the red I'm using. I've decided to do them black for the Death Company, which is one of my favourite units in the whole of the Blood Angels because just the lore behind them I really like. So so I've been painting them up. I've been doing some. I'm really pleased with the bases. I don't normally use cork because you use a lot of cork on your bases, as
off
thing. You've an amount of trees that are stuck to your bases like over the years of using cork.
Yeah,
that's ridiculous. So yeah, I've decided to do a bit of that, but I've gone for a bit more of a rubbly base.
Yeah.
So with the old sprues, the small sprues, the more small frames you get for the
single like character ones, yeah.
Yeah. I've been chopping them up to use as rubble, and I'll tell you what, mate, that comes out quite nice. I've got to dry brush them and do a bit of highlight, and then on the washes that go on them.
Yeah.
But no, I've been doing them quite nice. I'm just working my way through. I've painted them all black. They're all painted black. I'm just doing the blue, the zenithal highlight, which I've done in grey blue. Which
nice.
I'm not too. They've gone kind of bluey into the black, but I'm sure copious amounts of nun oil will change that.
Oh yeah. The great equalizer, as it is known.
Yeah, a tide of nun oil shall be chucked up on them, and that'll bring them back down. But yeah, now they're coming up all right. One thing is, I've now have a new hatred for free painting crosses on shoulder pads. Painting a cross on a round surface is very, very difficult, especially freehand. So this will be my first.
That sounds like it would be easy, but that's like that'd get quite tedious.
Yeah, because it's really weird because you start off in one corner. I've figured out now. I've done 4, so I'm an expert. You see, this is how it goes. I've done 4. I've got another 6 to go, and that's if I don't buy any more.
Yeah.
So I've been like, okay, as you start off, and then you go around, because what I've been doing is basically thinning the paint loads.
Right.
So when you paint on there, it's like a really faint mark.
Yeah.
Probably need a way of doing this, but I've just been doing that until I roughly get a line, so I know where I'm going.
Yeah.
And then I just try to thicken that line up with slightly less diluted paint, and just keep layering it up. So I've painted 4 crosses on the shoulder pads, but in reality, I've probably painted 86 shoulder pads, because the amount of times I've just gone over and over and over.
I mean, really, that's probably the correct way to do it. Is build it up in, like, as old Duncan used to say, like 2 thin coats and all that. Like, build it up. But I say used to say, like, he's dead. He's not dead. He's got his own YouTube channel.
No, he's gone from GW. He's dead, mate.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, gone. But that is the correct way of doing it, I would have thought. But also long as balls.
Yeah, it can be, but it's nice, because it's a nice, after you've finished it, you sit back and go, that's spot on, that is. I've got that right.
Yeah, I'm really happy.
Because when I used to do like freehand stuff, it used to be or any painting, it's like, I must get this done in the least amount of paint strokes as possible, or brush strokes.
Yeah.
So what I do is get the thickest paint I could and just go across it, and then be like, right, that's on there, and then it's crap.
Get the Dulux and a roller done.
Yeah, that's it. Just go, yeah, it's done. It's not what I wanted, but it's done.
Yeah.
So I think the satisfaction of them looking all right now is kind of like paying off for the multiple overpaint jobs I've done on them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So because basically what I'm gonna do is, like, I want to get a batch of them painted up, so then I go over with the oil washes.
Yeah.
It's like, as you now know as well. Oil washing is good, but it's good to get a batch of it done, because there's a lot of cleaning up and stuff after in it. So you wanna have something to tuck into. Because I've painted up some more aggressors as well. Somehow I've ended up with 9 of them. I don't know how. I started off with 3, and now I've got 9.
I do seem to remember picking you up a copy of Conquest, the issue that came with 3 of them.
Yeah. So that's where I've gone from. I had 3 because they look cool, because they reminded me of the old sort of style Terminators. Which I still love Terminators. Yes, and then I think I managed to get some friends and you to pick up copies of them.
Yeah.
And now I've got 9 of them. But
ended up with a small army of them.
Yeah, just an army of aggressors. Yeah, so I've been doing that. So I've basically just, all in all, I've been finding everything to do apart from painting terrain. So.
Yeah, appreciate your honesty.
And yourself, what have you been up to, my mate?
Well, I have. I've been doing the opposite to you. I have been on it with the terrain. I've got the Warcry, the Catacombs board. All of the walls are painted now, and weathered and OSL'd. The OSL is a bit weird, because it's like on the board, there's torches on the floor, but obviously it's a 2D board, so you've got to think that those torches are supposed to be like halfway up a wall or whatever. But aesthetically, doing the bit of OSL coming off of them up the wall, it's just a bit of visual. What's the word I'm looking for? Like a bit of eye candy. Do you know what I mean? Bit of visual interest, rather than just being a grey wall. It's like I've weathered it with a bit of what's that AK interactive thing that is like hen's teeth? You can't get hold of it. Streaking grime. I've used streaking grime along the bottom to so it looks like moss, sort of like, or just general crap going up the wall. And then I've done the OSL going up the wall from the bottoms. And if you, like I say, if you wanted to really be technical, you'd be like, that's not right. But if you want to look at it like just as it looks a cool board to play on, it looks pretty good. So the walls are done.
All I'm hearing is that the game's ruined now. I can't. There's no immersion.
Oh no, you're
is wrong.
Yeah, you will not be able to immerse yourself in the game whatsoever due to that one technicality. But the
ruined.
Yep, I'm not in the game anymore. I've done the walls. I've done the bridges. So I've done the 2 metal bridges and the 2 wooden bridges. And and the door switches, the big levers, done those.
Oh yeah.
They look sort of like just weathered and rusty and what have you. And I done one. Well, in real life, my fiance is pregnant, and but we had date night last night. But being heavily pregnant, she goes to bed at like 8:30 every night. So for her to watch all of Dread up until date night, we watched Dread. Awesome. It got to about 9:45, and she was on her chin strap. She's doing this like in a chair, and I was like, "Why don't you go to bed? Why don't you?" The second I heard that door shut upstairs, I was like, "What? Out to the garage."
Be the caring fiance, be the caring fiance, and just like, tell you what, go to bed, and it'd be nice.
Yeah, I'm not going to go into the garage and continue painting that Warcry stuff.
Yeah, right.
I'm lying.
I'm lying. Play with my toys.
Yeah.
She knew.
She knew
you well enough, mate.
Yeah, but she went to bed, so I come out and I thought, right, I got the doors all to a point. I dry brushed and that, so like there was a bit of when I start putting washes on them, there's a bit of tonal variation, so it's not just flat.
Yeah.
And I come out last night and I was like, right, I'm gonna get one door done just so I know the process, and then I know they're all different. There's like 5 types of door, but the general scheme is going to be like near on the same. And come out last night, got one of the doors done, and I'm well happy with that. It took probably from start to finish, and bear in mind it was the maiden voyage. It took from start to finish about 90 minutes. But I've got now the other 9 doors. When they're at that stage, I'm going to be able to blitz through the whole lot in one evening, I think. But I've got to get the base layers on. So a couple of them have got wooden doors, a couple of them have got metal bits, a couple of them have got different coloured skulls, blah blah blah. So I'll get all of them up to that stage, which will take a few hours, but the actual process of the weathering and bringing them up to the standard of the board is not going to be that long at all. So I fully expect. What's the date today? I don't know what date it is, but I fully expect within the next week I'll have all the doors finished, and then my part of that whole process is complete. We're just waiting on your scatter terrain, and we are done. Both our warbands are finished.
Yeah. I'm not.
So
warband out.
Yeah, we will be. Yeah, you knock your warband out in about 20 minutes, but we'll and to a really good standard as well. But we will be able to hit the ground running, mate, when restrictions ease up. With the hobby time we've been putting in the meantime, we will be fine, I think, mate. But there, whilst we're one sec, sorry, mate. Whilst we're talking, just so it's something that's a bit easy, I'm currently. I don't know if you can see that too well. That's part of us. That's part of a snotling. Yeah, part of a snotling. I'm building my snotling team while we're talking.
I was going to say, like this whole downtime of not being able to play has given everyone the perfect time to get stuff painted, so it should be on the table and looking glorious when everything's back to somewhat normality.
Yeah. But mate, I think we're both caught up on what we've been doing hobby wise there.
Yeah.
But so I think we should get into the subject proper then at this point. Like I said at the beginning, the subject being our top 5. They are in order. 5 being I don't want to say lowest because it's still good, but 5 being the lowest, 1 being the highest. And then I've got a couple of honourable mentions to drop in there as well, because we've both had long illustrious careers in gaming and hobbying, so there's a lot of memories.
Just for a long time.
I mean, we have been full-grown man children for quite some time. Yeah, but I'll tell you what. I'll kick off with my number 5. I'll probably have to stop building for a minute, but so I can concentrate. But so right, my number 5. It takes us back quite a few years, back to the Warhammer Fantasy Battles days. And
gonna make me feel old now.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I am
old. But,
yeah, because you are old. You're old. You're a year older than me, so that makes you old. You're 25. Yeah. Right, my number 5. All the way back to the Warhammer Fantasy Battle days, when I played at the time. I was playing Warriors of Chaos, more of a sort of like I went for like huge block of Chaos Warriors. I think I had like 40 odd Chaos Warriors, but then I also went with like what they call Skull Crushers. It was a bit of a mix, but I had more of my Lords and Heroes and stuff tended to be Nurgle, just because I just loved the durability of them and that. And it was round our friend Matt around his house, and we were playing Warriors of Chaos versus Vampire Counts, and that game I had gone for I was going. It was an away game. I'm at Matt's house. I wanted to turn up with a decent force, so I went with a Demon Prince that was I want to say 560 or 520. Right. Either way, it was a lot. It was a lot of points on a Demon Prince. He was tooled up to the eyeballs, and level 4 wizard and all that, and rolled off to go first. Blah blah blah. All set up. I'm going first, so I just move up the board. My guys weren't particularly fast. I didn't want to overcommit with the Skull Crushers, so they just went up a bit. So sort of try and draw him in, maybe try and get him to do a Van Hale's Dance Macabre and not get that close, and then I can countercharge him and all that lot.
Yeah.
And so I just inched up the board slightly. I've still not rolled a single dice at this point. And then we get into the magic phase, and I think I rolled like a 10, and it was like a 6 and a 4. So it's like it's a pretty weighted in my side. And then I can't remember if I channel power or whatever, but I just remember I got a 10 off the bat. So far I've rolled 2 dice, 1 dice roll, but 2 dice have been rolled. And then did I channel? I can't remember if I did, but let's say I've rolled 3 dice, 2 dice rolls, and a total of 3 dice at this point. And so I go to get my first spell off, and I want to say I made a bit of a dick move, and I went to just cast Purple Sun straight off the bat, like 6 dice here.
Go big or go home, mate. That's
I thought, right, I want to drop a Purple Sun on your block of zombies and just wipe them out. And that dick move came back to bite me, because I remember I rolled the 6 dice. So far that's my 3rd dice roll of the match, and I miscast. So it goes off, and I can't even remember, to be perfectly honest, I can't even remember the result of the spell, because obviously you miscast, you have to resolve the spell first, and then you consult the miscast chart. And and so we resolved the spell, and I don't even remember what happened with it. What happened in the miscast just took anything else happened before that was gone. I rolled on the miscast chart, and I rolled like a 2 or a 3, which was Dimensional Cascade. Dimensional Cascade, anyone who remembers back into the Warhammer Facts of Battles days, Dimensional Cascade was the worst result you could get. And you had to roll a d6. On a 4 to 6, your wizard was safe. Nothing happened. On a 1 to 3, your wizard, a rent tore open in reality, and your wizard would be sucked into the warp and slain. No saves, no nothing, just dead. And obviously, you can see where this is going. I rolled a 1. And Matt, bless him, he just looked at me and he went, "Do you just want to re-rack? Do you just want to go again?" Because it was like the 5th or 6th dice roll of the game, and my 520 point Demon Prince got sucked into the warp.
So hang on. Only 6 dice have been rolled. 6 dice rolls, and you lost 580. Was he say?
It was like 520 or 560.
520. We'd say 520. It'd be nice.
Yeah.
You lost 520 points of your army, and out of those 6 dice, how many did Matt roll?
None.
All me.
All me. And he did say, he goes, "Mate, do you just want to re-rack? We'll just go again." And I was like, no. At that point, it was like a bit of pride. I was like, no, I can't. I have to take this on the chin. And I was like, no, I'm going to go. I was like, no, we're still playing on, mate. We're still playing on. For about 20 minutes, I couldn't look him in the eye because he just had this big shit-eating grin on his face. And I was just like, no, if I look at him, I'm going to turn the table over. So I just got to look at the table, play nice.
Thing is, your bottom lip doesn't come out much when we're gaming. You
No.
take a lot of stuff on the chin and you go with the stride of it. But I can picture your face was thunder when that happened.
I was just like, and every question he asked me was one word answers for about 20 minutes. And then I was just like, right. What made it not so bitter a memory was that game went to turn 5 and I almost won because we got into a point in the middle where I had a Lord of Khorne on a Juggernaut and he had a Vampire Blender Lord. And again, if anyone remembers the old power builds from Warhammer Fantasy Battles, a Blender Lord Vampire was literally what it said on the tin. It was a blender.
Yeah.
It just get the red thirst and he just hack it. You know, it wouldn't be surprised to see him take down 18 plague bearers. You know what I mean? It's ridiculous. And him and the Lord of Khorne went at it in the middle of the board, and the Lord of Khorne killed the Vampire Lord. And then Matt was like, no, I've got bat swarms in contact with you. And I was like, oh, you haven't you? And anyone who doesn't know, bat swarms, they would reduce anyone they touched to initiative 1. And my Khorne Lord was 1 above his Vampire Lord. And because Chaos Lords had ridiculous, they were just stupidly hard.
Yeah.
And it went, basically he was like, my Khorne Lord killed his Vampire Lord, and then he went, you're actually initiative 1, so I get to strike you first. I was like, Fuff. And he went, right, I tell you what, if I don't kill him, we'll say that the Vampire Lord is actually still dead. But if I kill him, obviously the Vampire Lord ain't dead. And I'm like, you can't say fair enough, mate.
That's fair enough.
Yeah. I mean, I think he was giving me a bit of slack because I nuked myself in the first turn. But the Vampire Lord he got him 1 last wound, got him off, and we called it a day there. But it was like, I was really happy with the result of that just happening at the beginning, and then still managed to claw on for the whole game and made a game of it. And and we both were like, at the end of it, we were both like, yeah, I'm really happy with that. That went really well. That's cool. Because it was like really cut and thrust the whole game. And it was, it's an awesome memory, that one.
See, that's the thing. I remember the old 8th edition Warhammer Fantasy. Because that's when I joined in playing fantasy stuff. And Magic was so brutal.
It was not your friend.
No, I could not do it. For some reason, it's like, I took people's advice to what spells to take, when to use them, and all that, which is perfectly fine. That works really well. But if the dice don't work, if the dice aren't rolling for you, ain't going off. It's not happening. So I think it was a couple of times I didn't take a wizard because I just lost mine. I was playing Dark Elf, so I think my wizards were cheap. I think they were only like 90 points.
Oh yes, the sorceresses.
Yeah, sorceresses.
Yeah,
but they were so weak. They couldn't.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, get them into combat. It's like, if they even look at something shiny that could resemble a weapon, they're dead.
Oh, they're dead.
If someone got out a pocket spoon, they were like, all right, so I'm over. I'll just lie down, dead.
Yeah, I give up.
Yeah, I give up. Unless you put them on like some fierce mount, then maybe they can survive. But I mean, there was a couple of times like I went without a wizard. I think I may have taken 1 just to get a dispel.
Yeah.
But other than that, it was just like, I couldn't do it because the spells were just so brutal. Not like, as you've proven there, not only to your opponent but to yourself.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I mean, how many times did I when I was playing Skaven? How many times did I get off the dreaded 13th and nuke someone's unit? That's an honourable mention for me later. Actually, I'll shut my mouth.
Shut it.
Yeah.
So no, I mean, fair dues. You carried on playing. Very sportsmanlike of you. But then, do you also think? Well, you probably won't think, but do you think that even though you lost 520 points, and it was still a close match, do you think we would have just whitewashed it, having the Demon Prince on the board.
Uh,
That's a lot of points.
yeah,
to
I
lose,
think it may have swung a bit. Like it may have swung in my favor, maybe like halfway through the game. Because there's always that point in Warhammer Fantasy Battle that it would be like it could be a real close game up to a certain point, and then basically one person's house of cards would just crumble,
yes,
and then it would be like the end result wouldn't reflect the game itself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you'd be like, oh, that was a really good game. What was the score? Oh, I beat him 18-0. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that's it.
Yeah, but then really all of that happened in like the last turn and a half or something.
Yeah, that's it. I mean,
yeah, sorry, mate.
Like you said, like you had, it was just one turn, one thing that you were just expecting to do, just one, just get off a spell. Sounds easy enough. And then you end up nuking yourself. That could happen at any point throughout the game. But then again, that is the.
Yeah, I'm not like blowing my own trumpet saying, "Oh, I was such a great Warhammer Fantasy Battles player that I managed to even almost win 500 points down or whatever." It wasn't that. I think Matt made a few mistakes that I was able to capitalize on. I think at one point he put his black coach into the front of a unit of Chaos Warriors, but then what he did was then he charged some zombies as well, and I was like, "Well, I'm just going to ignore the black coach." I'm going to ignore the black coach and I'm going to fight everyone that can touch those zombies is going to kill those zombies, get my combat. What's it called? What was it called? Your combat score. You know what I mean?
I know it, but
if anyone's listening to this, if anyone's watching it, they're going to be going, and they know it was called, whatever it was. Where you got your points? You had like one for your rank, one for your banner. Then you had like your kills got you up as well, and then you weighed out the score at the end of it, and then whoever had won by that much. Combat attrition? It wasn't called combat attrition though, was it?
Oh my god, I forgot how hard fantasy was.
Yeah, but I can't remember what it's called. But basically, Matt fed me some easy kills, so I was able to battle shock. I can't even remember the old words. I was basically able to battle shock his units out of combat, killed them all. I killed those guys and ran one of them down. Do you know what I mean? Whereas if he would have just kept the black coach into me, I would have had minimal guys attacking him, and then he could have worn me down. But so it was just a few mistakes that he made that I can't say. It wasn't like I played out my skin or whatever, but it was just such a great game that started so badly.
Cool, mate. Cool.
Yeah, right. Okay, mate. Do you want to go with your number 5 then, Paul?
My number 5. Let me got my notes because my memory is rubbish, as you can tell, because we can't remember anything, even though we play a game type continuously. We still can't remember the names of things. Okay, my first good title, number 5, is the first time we played AOS at all. Now, like we were mentioning, we played a lot of fantasy battles. I mean, I painted up, I think I was 96 Dark Elf stuff models I had. That's including like the Dreadlord on the Black Dragon. I did get the Blood Cauldron, but I only played with that once because I was building up a Witch Elves.
I
was building up a load of those to make the old blender.
The lawnmower they called it, didn't they?
Yeah, I was going to build that because I was getting my ass handed to me quite a lot. So so I mean, when AOS come out, we were very. I think we still had our flag firmly planted in the 8th edition camp. We did not want to play it. I mean, I'm assuming we're not the only ones because I knew there was a lot of people out there.
I threw my toys out the pram big time, didn't I?
Yeah, I mean, you were.
I was like, this is crap. This is rubbish.
Second time I've seen your bottom lip come out was when they did that, and it was just like, I mean, like if you've seen any of our stuff recently, you know that we like the lore behind things. We like a story behind things. So when they brought out Age of Sigmar, they were like, right, your old world with all its lore and all its rich tapestry of stories is gone, and now we started this new one.
Yeah.
But what are these guys? You like to know? It's like, well, we don't know. Like Stormcast, they were like these are the what Sigmarines as they're called.
Yeah.
Aren't they?
Oh, they're Space Marines, are they? That's all right.
Yeah. They're Space Marines with hammers instead of bolters. Okay,
Yeah.
fair enough. And they were like, oh, what happened to this person? Oh, they're dead. How did they die? Oh, the world blew up. It was like a real big cop out. So we were very anti Age of Sigmar at the beginning.
Yeah.
And every time we went into a GW store, the guys were like, oh, have you tried Age of Sigmar? We're like, stop what you're doing. We're still playing fantasy. I've just spent several hundred quid on fantasy. I've finally finished painting my army up. They're all based. We've made special movement trays and everything, didn't we?
Yeah, themed movement trays.
Yeah. I was like, I'm not touching. I'm like all on square bases, and now you're telling me I've got to cut them off the square bases and put them on round bases.
Yeah.
Like, no. I'm not doing it.
I'm going to stop you right there, Nigel. I ain't doing that.
yeah, it's not happening. Yeah. So anyway, it took us a while. I think it's been out for a while. I can't remember how long Age of Sigmar has been out by this point. But then we decided, we were like, sod it. Should we? I think it was it watching Religion mini gaming, whatever it's called.
Yeah, Ash Barker at Guerrilla Miniature Games.
Yeah, and Owen, and I can't remember what he was playing, but I don't think I watched it. I think someone told me about it, and I didn't want to watch it. And it's basically how the movement's done. He's basically said you could move the models any which way. You know, they could be.
Well, at that point the bases didn't matter. It was all measured from the models, wasn't it? So you could overlap bases, and it was like,
yeah, because
they were called the Dark Times.
Yeah, this is what put us off. And he just pushed like. You watched it. I didn't watch it because of this.
Yeah.
And he just like basically pushed all of his models
like casino chips.
Up into a bundle. Went there. You go. Movement. Bases don't matter. Which let's face it, we could play this game on just tokens and just have what.
Yeah, you could have buttons. Simple. Just little buttons.
Yeah. I mean, this is what everything that matters is that disc that guys are stood on. Nothing else matters. The model on them is just really cool.
That little circle of the world that they inhabit.
Yes, that's it. So I think that's put us off. But when they brought in the proper movement with you had to move them individually, we decided, fine, okay, well, let's give this a go. We tucked our bottom lips in, put our big boy pants on, and went, right, let's do this. So we did the Dark Elves versus your Warriors of Chaos.
Slaves to Darkness.
Now, Slaves to Darkness, wasn't it? Yeah. And yeah, I think the first game we had, because I mean, you and I have played against each other quite a bit. You've helped me learn the game a lot through like basically the amount of time we played.
Yeah.
And I dreaded going up against you with my elves because I just knew how soft my elves were. For my troops choice, I had a block of 30 dread spears. That's the spear dark elf bunch.
Yeah.
And I made it like they're in the block. And every time I went up against your Warriors of Chaos, they always wiped them out. So a 10 unit model, or a unit of 10 models managed to wipe out 30 every time.
Yeah.
Basically, I was just chucking my spear elves in as a roadblock a lot. Warriors didn't come in and nuke something else off the board.
Yeah.
So this is the way that things would go in, and I basically sold myself that this was their role in life, just to basically be
that was their fate.
Cannon fodder. Yeah. So it came to it. We were playing with it. I had all the models set up. It was weird not using movement trays and things like this. And did the usual thing. It was like, here's Warriors are over there, right? White dread spears, in you go. Do your thing. And the first time we went in there, I think they killed them in like 2 turns. My spear elves managed to kill your Warriors in 2 turns, which has never happened. It's never happened in all the times we played. And instantly, I think from that point, we both looked at each other and went, hang on a second, this is quite brutal.
This is different.
Yeah, this is different. It's like and I still had dread spears left. I didn't know what to do with them afterwards because I basically sent them across the board to stop your warriors coming in. And I had some left, and I was like, well, what am I going to do with them now? I've got to march them all the way back across the board.
Yeah.
And it was nice not having to move a whole movement tray around, because you could just literally turn each individual one round.
Yeah.
And just run them across.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think that's my number 5 moment, is that first game of AOS.
Yeah.
Where we realised this game's actually brutal.
It's actually all right.
Yeah. I mean, because like we were saying with the Magic just a minute ago, they like dumbed the Magic down, which a lot of people didn't like. Personally, I liked, because it didn't make it such a swing of the game. It wasn't like a linchpin.
Yeah.
You've got a spell off. And it wasn't like that game. But so the actual battle was, won and lost with the blade on the field. So it actually made it feel like your little dread spears are doing something. You didn't have to spend so many points on a spell to buff them to get them to do something. I mean, that will count. But yeah. So that's my number 5.
No, that's a good number 5, mate. I think that game was played in the very room you are sat in.
It is. It was played over there.
Yeah. That was that's a good pick, mate. I like that one. That was because that was, like you say, that was like the turning point where we went from, because I remember me and you being at Comic-Con. I think it was Comic-Con, and there was a Warhammer stand there, and it had Age of Sigmar and a really cool diorama and stuff. And we walked past it, and we were like, "You're not the old world."
Yeah, don't talk to us. We don't want to know.
You ruined it.
I think that was, and now looking, hindsight's a wonderful thing. Now looking what they've done and the rich lore that they've given to everything. I mean, I think, again, like I said, what put us off, hadn't made one yet, or they didn't release the story that they were going to tell us.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah. So they finally came out and said, like, look, this is the story, and then they gave you a little bit more, and you're like, because I mean, that was the first bit. I didn't understand. I understood the world was destroyed and then broke up into the realms of magic. Yeah. But it was trying to understand what a realm was. I think a lot of people had this thing. It's like, what's a realm? Is it a planet? They're like, no, it's a disc world, or a flat Earth, if you're flat earther,
if you will. Yeah.
And it's like, okay, because that was one of the main things. It's like, in the realm of fire. So what? Everything's on fire. It's like, yeah, but there's cities, people living there. It's like, how does that work? Everything's on fire. People can't live in fire. That's the opposite of what people live in. But obviously now they've released everything, and they've given us all of the depth and everything. And there's more coming out, and I'm loving what's coming out now. I think it went from a dark fantasy to a high fantasy, where you are dealing with more magic and things like that.
Sort of like it went from Tolkien-esque stuff to like you say, more sort of like high fantasy D&D sort of thing like that, and like I'm part of a few groups on Facebook, and it's the feeling that we experienced back in the day is still widely felt by like a huge part of the gaming community. Like, there's people out there just absolutely despise Age of Sigmar, and and it's like, yeah, fair enough. Like, not everyone's gonna like the same thing, but and we felt like that, and like I think that's why I like your pick, because I do remember that feeling that we had in your kitchen there. I do remember that feeling of being like, we started playing and we were like, hang on, this is different, and then at the end of it, we were like, that was awesome.
Yeah.
We were like, that was really good. I really enjoyed that. Yeah.
Because I think what was it, by the end of the game, I might even mean by turn 3, we had hardly anything left on the board, because we went in with our old frame of mind, or of how we used to play, is in like, right, the quicker I get these guys into combat, the longer they're going to tie them up. So it's a battle of attrition. When you get 2 blocks together, you've just got to try to outfight them.
You're going to have like a bit of a pike push in the middle of the board.
Exactly, yeah. So I think I remember I've had my They would get charged.
Sorry, mate.
First
Sorry,
turn.
mate. You dropped out for a split second there. What was that?
I remember back when we were doing it was basically the pike push, and my dread spears got charged first turn, and then that was it. That they were in combat the whole game.
Yeah.
Literally every turn, I think the full 4 or 5 turns of whatever game type we were playing, it got to I'm still in combat. I'm still in combat.
Yeah.
And then when we played the Age of Sigmar one, and it was like 2 turns, they're out of combat. Everyone was out of combat because you were either dead or alive. There was it. There was no I'm hanging on by a thread. It's literally, right, I've killed enough of your guys. You're now fleeing. See you later. On to the next one.
Yeah.
Because I think that was the other thing. It's like where they changed the fleeing. You obviously your men would run away, but they would still be part of the game. So yeah, when they fled, you had these loose threads running around the board that, you know, if they rallied, they could still be on the board. And you still got some men on the board somewhere. You would either have, say you'd have 30 spear elves gone down to 5 spear elves. They're still on the board. There's not really a lot they can do, but they're still on the board. But there's still something there. Where obviously in Age of Sigmar, if they flee, they're gone.
Dead. Yeah.
They're gone. So it's made it a quicker game. And just not looking up any charts. But anyway, that's my number 5, mate.
Good pick. Good pick.
We could go on all night about that, but that's my number 5.
Cool. So right then, my number 4. My number 4 is very, very similar to my number 5, but in a different time and a different space and a different reality. Wayne's World. What was that Scooby-Doo? That was a Scooby-Doo, wasn't it?
It was Scooby-Doo, but they did it.
And then Wayne's World. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, cool. Number 4. In fact, I'll call it out now. Spoiler alert: if you have not watched our Slaves to Darkness versus Carrigan Overlords battle report, and you plan on doing that, I'd probably skip past my number 4 because it has to do with that game. And
we put timestamp or something.
Yeah, I'll put timestamps, but you can you skip past if you want to watch that game. Skip past this bit. So when that game was no, it wasn't Overlords, was it? Sorry, it was Nighthawk.
Oh, the Nighthawk.
Nighthawk.
Your Nighthawk.
My Nighthawk, in fact, yeah. That game, straight off the bat, you took the first turn and you moved up into the center of the board because we were playing Star Strike, was it?
Yeah,
I think it was Star Strike, wasn't it? Playing Star Strike, and you thought, right, I want the center of the board, get some tactical options going on. It was your maiden voyage with Nighthawk as well, so you were just getting your feet, finding your feet, and so then I come out straight out the gate. Everything I think there was like 5 guys in that army that weren't on a horse or a chariot, and playing the Ruinbringers Warband, everyone discharged straight across. Brutal first turn charge. It was like the Rohirrim charging down the hill into the orcs. It was just like brutal charge off the start, and which looked like the game was going to spin on its heels at that point. It was like, I felt a bit bad because I was like, we're filming this and this looks like it's going to be a whitewash, and but then you made some really good tactical choices. You made some of your dice rolling was the best dice rolling I've ever seen you make ever. And so it turned, we had ourselves a game. The Chaos Lord on Karkadrak in the center of the board with, I believe, your Guardian of Souls and what was left of the Grimghast Reaper Horde.
Reapers. Yes.
Yeah. And I had a Mindstealer Sphinx lurking around there.
He was tucked in there as well.
Yeah, and basically the Karkadrak Lord he had gone into the middle of the board to face down an enemy hero that was a wizard, so he's the antithesis of anything Khorne. He despises sorcery. He's there to lay low the wizard, and and he whiffed. He whiffed. The Carcadrak Lord whiffed hard. And I don't know if he even whiffed because he hit you a lot, but you were just tanking saves, weren't you?
Well, it's because you're not used to the unrenderable save. Because like you always played Night Haunts and I always played Stormcast.
Yeah.
And forever I was like, yes, I got a weapon. It hits on a 3, it wounds on a 3, -2 rend, 6 damage, and you'd be like, and I'll get to go, that's 2 rend. You'd be like, no, that's not. I was like, oh, why? And you'd be like, I'm a ghost, mate. Can't do rend, doesn't affect me. I'm like, okay, right. And then you actually got a taste of it for yourself because you like come in, go, and that's -3 rend, and I'll be like, doesn't matter.
No, it's not.
No, because I'm a ghost and you can't do that.
Damn it.
I also think the Carcadrak Lord as well is because obviously where I can't remember where the board set up was. I know there was a lot of terrain in the middle, but I think because obviously, because the ghosts fly, there was nothing holding me back, so I was just flying over everything. And then I think the Carcadrak got stuck because he went one way, and then I flew another way. Yeah, you have to loop round.
Yeah, so I don't think that didn't start happening until like maybe turn 4, turn 3 or 4. And
quite late in the game.
It was late in the game, wasn't it? And but the Carcadrak Lord threw everything he had into the Guardian of Souls, who just laughed it off. You were like 4 up, failed that one. Oh, I've got a 6 up Deathless Spirit save, 6 up. I was like, fuff. You were just tanking him hard.
Oh, I loved it, mate.
But what took him down? It was the Carcadrak. The Carcadrak managed to chomp off the last couple of wounds he had, and so I'm Billy Big Balls, and I'm like, I get to roll on the Eye of the Gods table. And you have fallen foul of the Eye of the Gods a couple of times.
Yeah, let's just say last time you brought in, was it 20 odd plague bearers?
Yeah, I managed. I killed a character. I killed 2 characters in 2 consecutive turns. Rolled on the Eye of the Gods and got a 10 on both of them, which is you get to summon 10 demons, and the only ones really that I've got painted up were plague bearers. So in 2 turns, I had 20 plague bearers in the center of the board, which you weren't too happy about.
So obviously when we get into this situation and you've killed my Guardian of Souls, you bring this back up and say I get to roll on the Eye of the Gods table.
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh, here we go. Here's the nail in the coffin. This is it. Yeah.
Because I did say, I was like, well, if I roll a 12 here, Paul, I could have a Demon Prince on the board. And you were like, oh, fuck God. But I thought, no, I'll try and ease the pain. I said, no, but I could also turn into a Chaos Spawn. Snake Eyes and I'm a Chaos Spawn. And you were like, yeah, all right. And then I rolled those 2 dice, and lo and behold, the 2 beady Snake Eyes staring straight back at me. I was like, I think there was like the 2 polar opposite reactions. Mine was like a squeal of pain mixed with laughter, and yours was just a bellowous roar. Like,
didn't we like bottom out the mics or top end out the mics?
Yeah, if you do go and watch that, just be prepared when it comes to the bit where I roll on the Eye of the Gods table. If you're wearing headphones, take them out because it spikes. But it was just mental. It was like I wasn't disappointed with that result because it really fed into the narrative of Khorne didn't deem him worthy. It was his mount that got the kill, and in the eyes of Khorne, that ain't cricket.
No, well, he'd done nothing all game. He ran around the board, finally got a chance to prove himself, waved his pool noodle around, and did nothing.
And he failed to kill a wizard. A Khorne Lord failed to kill a wizard.
A wizard, he said. Disgusting. Yeah.
So Khorne, the skies opened up, and Khorne's mighty fist came down and crunched him into a spawn. That was absolutely brilliant. Me, that's my number 4 purely because it's like the polar opposite of the 5. Not even the polar opposite, actually. That's a lie. It's almost the same thing, but it was just another one of those moments. Yeah, where it was just like the first one was because it was so early in the game, but this one it really fed into the narrative of how useless that Carcadrak Lord had been all game, and he got his Khorne. He got the perfect result. His path to glory ended in Spawndom.
I mean, like Tom says, if you want to see how that result, the rest of the game panned out, go and look at the video.
Oh yeah,
or go and watch the video. It was a good game. It was a good game.
Yeah.
Especially as that was my first run with the Nighthaunt, which I actually really enjoyed. I think
you did yourself proud in that game. That was good.
Well, I've seen all the tactics from you, mate, coming out to them. So
Be a douche is the biggest tactic you can do with Nighthaunt.
I know which units I hate and what they could do because I hate them so much.
Yeah, because they've turned you over. But mate, I'm going to round up. That is my number 4.
Okay, so my number 4 isn't going to be a long one. It is. Find my notes again. It is. We're going to take a dive into the Underhive, and that rhymes because that's the word. We're going to go into the Underhive for this one. This is when. I can't remember. This is when we could play games. Obviously, I think in the first lockdown I was running out of stuff to build. I had plenty to paint, but I wanted to have stuff to build. And I've been wanting to get back into Necromunda for some time because obviously the narrative, it drips with narrative.
Some may say that you banged on about it a bit.
Some may say. Yeah. I mean, you've probably heard enough of it, and you're going to hear some more.
Okay.
So I bought the Dark Uprising box set, and tucked into building that. And by the time we managed to get together, I mean, I had a few walls built up and everything. You got yourself the Corpse Grinder cult.
Yep.
You got yourself a load of those because we did play Necromunda quite a while ago. And we did get heavily into it. I mean, we did have a tournament around Matt's house, didn't we? Where there was like 8 of us in the day.
Yeah, we had like several rooms of his house overtaken, and I think one of them was actually a board on a bed.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. We had a couple of boards going, and we had whilst 4 people were playing, the other 4 were sorting out their after game and buying stuff and everything like this. That was a really good day.
Yeah, before we had kids.
Yeah, before we had kids, wives, fiancés, lives.
In the before times.
In the before times, the good times, I'd say. But yeah, so we finally got together. We were like, right, let's get back into this. Let's see if we can remember what we're doing. They've obviously changed up a bit. I read up on all the books, managed to get hold of some of the books for the rules and that. And we just decided to have a quick light game of it just to, dust off the old Necromunda rolling. And did we do a 3-player one?
I believe if I'm thinking what you're saying, it was in a fatal 3-way. Yeah.
Because in our close gaming group, or regular gaming group, there's 4 of us that turn up mainly. So we decided to have a 3-way whilst one guy watched and basically had his head in the rule book just to jump in and help us out.
Yeah.
And he didn't have a warband at this time, or a gang. So I think it was a 3-way. I was playing the Palatine Enforcers, which I've got painted up quite nicely. I've mentioned them before. They're all painted in like dread colours because I went through a dread phase as well. I bought loads of the novels and stuff and got tucked into those. So I went through a dread phase, which isn't far from the Underhive as it is.
Oh yeah.
So I was the Palatine Enforcers, you were the Corpse Grinders, and I think Vinny was the Gene Stealer cult.
That's right.
Yeah, we had it tucked up in there, and we were playing a 3-way game. I don't think we played it right because it was really difficult because where you have no guns, you were just going around just slaughtering everyone because I think it was one where it's like a 3-way meeting between gangs. It's like a Mexican standoff.
That's it.
And none of your guys get alerted unless someone fires a gun.
That's right.
Now, obviously, Vinny's Gene Stealer cults have got claws, so he was sort of all right, but he's got some guns. But you've got no guns, so you weren't alarming anyone. I think we house ruled it. Any attack alerted anyone at that point because it was getting silly because none of my guys were reacting. So my guys were just walking around, just getting chewed up,
getting murdered.
So I think we household it up by this point, but I didn't have many left because it was just getting buzzsawed to pieces and then eaten, which is lovely. But I think I came down to my last guy. I had my leader. Now I've set my gang up as the subjugators, the dudes with the riot shields, as my captain, my leader, sorry, and then I think the other two are just gangers, because the way the rules are set up for it, you've got to have, if whatever your leader is, two of your gangers have to be the same.
Right.
So basically, I've started with 3 shield dudes, which I've seen a lot of people do because the shield dudes are cool.
And they look awesome.
The big burly dudes with massive riot shields that you can use them to beat people with.
Yeah,
which is nice. So as my lonely leader was all alone because he was part of the parlay in the middle, and he got left on his own. I was trying to back my way out of there, and as I was making my way down a corridor, your leader, your butcher, is your leader the butcher?
That's it.
Yeah, your butcher. And I thought he won't be able to get to me. He won't be able to get to me. Not realizing you roll extra, or you get extra on your charge, don't you?
Yeah. So instead of on his charge, he gets his movement, and instead of it being plus D3, it's his movement plus D6.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, you won't be able to get to me. Oh no, I was wrong. You got to me.
You were wrong.
Oh, I was wrong. So your butcher came charging down this corridor at my leader subjugator. It's easy for you to say.
Yeah.
And I thought, here we go. He's dead, because you were like, right, I get charge, so that's an extra attack. I got paired weapons. That's another attack. Was it 5 attacks or something like that? Something silly.
I think he ends up with 4 attacks, but I had a skill on him that in subsequent rounds of combat he gets to make that twice. So he gets 8 attacks at like stupidly high strength, -3 to your armor. Every single one of them's 2 damage. It got like cleave as well, so he just on 6s it does something special as well. He's a combat. He's a beast.
Yeah, someone you don't want to meet in a corridor like I met him.
Yeah.
Angry. So I'm just like, oh, here we go. Right, my first delve back into the Underhive, and I just get like picked to pieces.
Yeah.
Or hacked to pieces in this case. So I was like, oh no, here we go. So you rolled your dice. I can't remember how many you got through, but you got enough. You got enough to make me panic. I think I had to roll 3 dice by the end of it, because luckily you hit me in my front arc, which is obviously the shield, and I managed to the add-on was negated your basic attacks, or the ones that got through.
Yeah.
Which I was like, oh, thank God. So anyway, I managed to roll the dice, and with all the pluses and minuses and whatever taken into it, I think I needed 3 5-ups. And what did I roll? 3 6-ups. And it was just like, oh my God. I was just like, oh, how has this happened? How have I managed to block everyone? What we can just picture is your maniac butcher with his buzzsaws just like grinding, sparks flying off his shield. It's just like him just carrying behind it, just like, oh my God.
In my mind, your guy was literally just going, and my bloke was just going, ah, but getting nowhere.
Yeah. So it's not often I see the 6s come up for me, but that time I needed it, and it just played into it so well. You just come charging around the corner, and I'm just cowering behind my assault shield, just going, please don't get me, please don't get me. So that, I mean, like I said, it was a short one because it was just a panicky moment, but it panned out okay. I can't even tell you what happened after that.
I do believe I did kill you in the end.
But you didn't kill me that first charge.
No, but that's all that matters.
That's all that matters.
I remember being really gutted about that, because I thought in my brain I was thinking, there is not a cat's chance in hell Paul is making 3 5-ups.
No,
it ain't happening.
I think you even had like a smug grin going, well, he's dead. He's just like yeah, it's all right, he's dead. I think you were even looking for your next target afterwards. You even gave up and just like, nah, it's all right. yeah, and then I dashed those with my strikingly good dice rolls for a change, which is nice. So yeah.
Brilliant. So
Okay, right.
is that your number 3? Is it?
That's my number 3, mate.
That's a cracking choice, mate. Cool. No, or was that number 4? Whatever. This is my.
That was number 4.
Yeah, this is my number 3. My number 3. Okay. This goes off of tabletop miniatures in a way, I suppose. And it was this goes into a Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay.
Nice.
Third edition, to be specific. And it was in the campaign that we're still actually currently running. We've put it on a hiatus slightly, what with the lockdowns and stuff. And it's nicer to meet in person to do these. It's okay to do them over Skype and whatever, but you can't really get a feel for it. And when you're all sat around together, it's a bit more fun, isn't it?
We've done a couple of sessions, and I think we are maybe 1 or 2 sessions away from finishing it.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And this I can't remember the sessions that we've done over Skype or House Party or whatever we were running it on. Because I'm sat on my own in the garage doing it with the headphones on, I ended up drinking like half a bottle of whiskey every time we played. So I ended up quite drunk.
You just see Tom slowly disappearing off camera.
Slowly getting lower and lower, and my choices getting worse and worse, but or better and better, whatever way you want to look at it. But my number 3 is when we got to like a pivotal point in the campaign up to, what was that area called? Was it called the Watchtower or
the Perch?
The Perch. We got up to the Perch, and the Perch was like a bastion up on a hill that could see out over a forest, and it was manned by the Black Watch. We were hunting down some goblins, or what? We didn't know at the time, but we were hunting down these goblins, and we'd bumped into a character earlier in the campaign, who was called Marcus Screed, and he was the captain of the Black Caps, which was like a town guard that Paul had dreamed up. And, and one of our friends, again Vinny, who's we've mentioned before, he's played. I can't remember Vinny's character's name, but he's a grey wizard, and he's a bit of a drunk. We're using the alcoholic rule mechanic in there. And,
he's a drunkard, basically.
Yeah, he's a drunkard, but he's also a wizard, and he's an aristocrat as well. So he's like a bumbling English aristocrat that's a bit drunk and but he's a wizard, so he does some sneaky stuff. And we got to a point where the Black Caps captain was quite suspicious of us. And
carry on, sorry.
And one of the other characters in our group is a priest of Ulrich, so he's very hard to get along with, shall we say, and it doesn't approve of the more nefarious decisions that get made in the group. And I'm Adelhard of Griffinwood, and I'm an Ostermark bounty hunter, and so I make a few sort of like shady choices, shall we say, every now and again. And but me and Vinny were in a dialogue with Paul. So I'm Adelhard. Vinny is, I can't remember his name, but we'll just say Vinny for a minute. Vinny was
Archibald something. I can't remember.
Oh, it was, wasn't it? Oh God. Aldrich. And so it was me, Adelhard, Vinny, Aldrich, and Paul was Marcus Screed, and we're having this dialogue.
So let me just give a quick catch up to what was going on. So basically, we played some Warhammer Fantasy role play before, haven't we? We've just done a couple of sessions out of the book, and basically you were the GM the last couple of times you've done it.
Yeah.
And I basically, whilst I'm at work, I have been listening to as much as I possibly can of Critical Role. So if you haven't listened to that podcast, it's basically a D&D podcast that they do with voice actors, and it is absolutely brilliant. I've listened to season 1. I think they're on. They've got a YouTube channel as well. But yeah, so I've basically listened to the whole of season 1 of Critical Role, and so I really got into the mood and started thinking, oh, I'll have a go at DMing. I've got some imagination. I can pick stuff out of my head and come up with some sort of BS that tells a story. And I'm like, I'll have a go. So I started following. I read up on loads of tips and all this, and I thought, you know what, I want to, instead of doing one out of the books, because I wanted to save those for when we're together, because they're a nice together one. So I thought, you know what, I'll try doing one. I'll do a homebrew one. Do a homebrew one, something with a storyline. So I did a lot of research into these things, and basically they were saying, like, when you come up with a character, don't put too much into it, because if they never get to meet them, you've put all this backstory and life into a character, then that's it. They never get to meet them, or you can obviously force them to meet them, or the opposite is they kill them and ruin it. So I was like, okay. So I've only made 2 characters in the thing so far. So I gave them a backstory, gave them this thing, and so I spent some time on these guys. So I got to know them. I had to come up with a character for them. I'm not great at the doing accents or voices, but I did some work on these, so they actually sounded different from every other NPC throughout the world. It's quite hard playing a woman when you've got such a deep voice as well. That's
it really
deep,
is,
nasally voice. It's hard to play a woman's voice. So anyway, so these guys get to the midpoint of the campaign, or the midpoint of the story, and they get out to this the outpost is called the Perch. The Perch, and they meet this guard captain again, Marcus.
Yeah, because that was our second encounter with him, wasn't it?
Yeah. Because also the other thing is, where we've played before, I was a fire wizard before, so I kind of understood. I had a lot of damage spells, and everyone else had their own roles. So I've seen the other roles that could be played, except for a grey wizard. Now, Vinny has been a thorn in my side.
Oh God, yeah.
With playing a grey wizard, not because he's bad, because he plays it too well.
He does, doesn't he?
Yeah. He plays it far too well, and it's got to the point. I don't know a grey wizard enough and what they can do. So I've entrusted to take some pressure off me. I've entrusted the guys to learn their characters. If they've got any information, we've managed to get hold of all of the backlog of store or books, and
we've got every single piece of literature that ever came out for that game. Yeah.
So we've got the rich backlog of rules and basically everything you can. So if anyone needed anything, we go to that book, send them pictures and whatnot, and say, like, this is your character. So I trusted everyone to know their character. So, which they've all done really well. They've come up with backstories and everything for their characters, which work really well. But this grey wizard, I didn't know what they could do. So at the beginning, Vinny told me what his character could do and everything, and what he was able to do. And I was like, okay, that's not too bad. What I'll do is I'll make it difficult for him. And now, if you haven't played fantasy roleplay, you make a pool of dice, and I can make it as difficult as I can by putting in loads of difficult dice.
Yeah.
Now I'm still tweaking with that, because everyone thinks, oh, you're making it really difficult. It's the old world. It's a horrible life.
It's called Grim. Was it a game of grim and perilous adventure?
Yeah. So I did have a few people go, oh, you're making it quite hard. It's supposed to be hard. You're not supposed to survive this. You're supposed to die. So I was like, I let them have a pass. So anyway, come up to Vinny making decisions, and I would make them difficult, but he would play them so well and then roll extraordinarily well that I had to let him play. I had to let him what he wanted
but
to
his
do,
role
go
playing as well. I think he's been having like amateur dramatic lessons in secret, because he just started pulling dialogue out of his ass, didn't he? He like started spitting. He'd be like, "Is that coming out of him?"
If he doesn't play Jack in Jack and the Beanstalk in the next like production that's in town or something like that, then they've missed an opportunity there. So that's brought you up to the story. So he playing the Great Wizard very well. Him and Tom and the gang, the other two that are in the party, were at the midpoint, and they met the Marcus Scree again. So go on, Tom.
Vinny or Aldrich went into like a turret of the keep, into it was like the lower floor of a turret tower, and and he's gone in there, and in the last encounter we had with Marcus Screed, Vinny had used honeyed words on him, and he'd actually convinced him to give his it was his Zweihander, his great sword. He gave it to another character in our group who was an Empire great swordsman, and it was like the sword was like had like buffs on it, and it was because it was like an heirloom, wasn't it? What was it called? Was it called? Did he call it Charlene in the end or something?
Eleanor, wasn't it?
Eleanor, that was it. He was like, his sword was called Eleanor, and he was like presented it like basically Aldrich had Obi-Wan Kenobi Jedi mind tricked him into giving up his family heirloom to our great swordsman, and then he was already distrustful of Aldrich, and he got in with him to the room, and so Vinny and I was like, I got to go in there. I thought I'm going to follow him in. So I went in, and Vinny had said to me, right, this was like out of character. It said, we need to do something about this guy. What are we going to do? He goes, we need to, he's really suspicious of us. We need to like knock him out or something.
He basically was coming back to get his great sword back. So I was temporarily lending this sword to Luke. I can't remember his name. Lending it to Luke for a part of the campaign, and then he was going to come back and ask for his sword back. So he had come back
to get the sword
and was trying to get his sword, and then this is when everything went awry.
It did. It escalated fast. We really wanted Luke to keep that sword, and I thought, Wolfram was his name, was it?
One goes. That's Wolfram,
and what was his one then? Oh, it doesn't matter. Luke, the great swordsman. We were like, we need him to keep that sword because that is a pretty tasty sword. And so I was like, well, I could knock him out. And Vinny was like, well, what are you gonna do? Before, because I'd already had a couple of whiskeys at this point. Before anyone in the party could say, don't think that's a good idea, I was like, right, I'm gonna roll to knock him out with my with the butt of my crossbow. And I battered him straight to the back of the head with the crossbow. And Vinny was like, have you killed him? I said, well, no, you just said to knock him out. So I haven't killed him. I've just knocked him out. And then, so everyone else was sat there going like, what are you two doing? Why? But Vinny was just ignoring him. And I said, well, Vinny, you didn't say kill him. You said knock him out. You're killing him. No, mate, you're killing him. I ain't doing that. So Vinny ended up putting him we carried him up the stairs. We carried him up the stairs to get him out of the eyesight of the other guards. And we're like, what do we do with him? So we just pushed him over the edge, and he landed in a horse and cart. And I was like, Vinny, he's your problem now, mate. I've done my part. I knocked him out. And then we got round, and we were like, what are you going to do then? And Vinny was like, I'll have to slit his throat. So we're like, do you? He went, yeah, right, okay. And then again, without consulting anyone, just ended up this poor unconscious guard captain slit his throat in his unconscious state, and then piled his body. Luke, at this point though, Luke's character, the great swordsman, walked round the corner, saw Vinny with a bloke's head with his knife on his throat, was like, I haven't seen anything. Just walked back round the corner. Vinny was like, right, slit his throat, piled him off the edge of the cliff. I don't know if later on in the campaign we're going to stumble across his body in the woods. I don't know.
I don't know.
But when we got round the front, everyone else was like, what have you... there were one go, the priest of Ulrich, he was like, what have you two been doing around there? And we were like, nothing. Should we leave? But it was just like it went from we've got a little problem here to we've just had to kill an unconscious man and tip his body off of a cliff.
It was like he did it, and I was like, oh, you can't do that because he's a character. I might have use for him later. And then it's like you've just slit his throat, and now you've chucked him off a cliff.
It's not even like you could say he didn't die. He fell off a cliff with a slip.
Yeah, it's just like, he got better. He walked it off.
I can just see it later on in a bar. I'm going to be sat there in that game later on in a bar, like Anchorman, and like that escalated quickly. I mean, that got out of hand fast.
It did actually get because then it was just like right, okay. In my mind, yeah, again, this is throwing me lots of curveballs because this is stuff that I never even thought that was coming.
Yeah.
Because so I was like, right, okay, how can the guard are all there now. I can't kill them, and they can't fight the guard because they were you guys are too weak to take on the guard that were there.
Yeah.
Or you might have done. So I was like, how are you going to get out of this? And Vinny was like, I'm going to use honey words again. That damn spell kills her every time.
Yeah.
And he was like, this spell goes off. Honeyed words. I just tell them that the guard commanders told them to go on back down to the village. And I was like, okay, right. You screwed me over a lot of times with this. I was thinking to myself, have a load of purple dice. It's like 4. Yeah, make it harder. Passed. Flying colours. Loads of boons. No banes. And it was just like...
The thing was, he's been playing that character really well because he was like, he would save up fortune dice and then he would time it so he would use it when like he had loads of power to cast spells. Then he'd also have like fortune dice stacked up so he could weight the dice roll in his favor. So he like, but on top of it, it wasn't just the dice roll because obviously it's a role-playing game. So you could just be like, well, you haven't role-played it well, so I'm just gonna make this up and say you failed it. But he would role-play it really well as well. He not only would he like just roll you into oblivion, he would also give you a show. So you were like, I can't make this bad for you.
No, that was the annoying thing. At least if he wasn't role-playing it, you'd be like, oh mate, that's no good. But he was doing so well because obviously one of the things you've got to do is like encourage people to go that role-playing distance.
Yeah.
And like one of the things they say is give players that role play really well, or they don't even have to role play really well. They just have to do. I mean, because some people are naturally, theatrical with what they do, so they could do it really well. And someone a bit shy may not do as well. So you kind of got to try to tease them out a bit of that. So you give other people rewards, but then when they do something out of ordinary for them, you give them a reward. So that's the idea. You give them rewards to keep them going. Because Vinny was doing so well. Yeah. Which I think in the end made Luke play really well with it as well. He started to warm up to it because he was like, hang on, if I do this, instead of just saying what I'm going to do, if I act it out a bit, then it's like, there you go. But he
because it's like, it's weird, isn't it? Because like, even though obviously we're all like been friends for years and years and years, so we don't get embarrassed in front of each other and things like that. But when you step out of real life and you go into playing a role-playing game, if you're not experienced, because really none of us are that experienced with role-playing games, when you first start doing it, you do feel a bit silly. Do you know what I mean? You feel a bit like, oh, hang on, I look like a bit of a dick here or what? But you're all in the same boat. Obviously, anyone who's watching this who is a lifelong role-playing game role player, they'll be like, maybe they're like, well, I don't know, I don't really feel like that. But we got into it like basically in our 30s. You know what I mean? We hadn't done any of that sort of stuff before. And then to do it, to like start doing it was a bit like, oh, hang on, like you're a bit toe dippy. But Vinny just came flying out the gate, and then me and him ended up getting roped into a situation where we basically ended up murdering maybe an innocent man. I don't know.
Well, he was innocent.
We won't know now because he is dead. But
Yeah.
that for me, Paul, that is my number 3 because that really was like a turning point in our role-playing game careers where we realised that you can go to some dark places.
Oh, mate, and quick, and very quick.
Yeah. That's my number 3, mate. That's my number 3.
Okay, cool. All right. This is completely unintentional, but my number 3 goes to Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay as well.
Oh, right. Yeah, cool.
Yeah. It goes. Now this is, I think, this is when you did your homebrew story. When we went down to your dad's and we had a lads weekend. Lads. Woo.
Yeah.
Lads. Instead of going out, looking for babes or chicks or whatever you want to say, we stayed at home and played in the basement.
Oh yeah, we were lads playing Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay in the basement.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. The only racy bit it got is when we I think when the adult beverages started to flow quite heavily.
Yeah.
But it was you come up with you basically did a homebrew story because you'd run 2. I think it was by then you already done 2 out of the book role playing sessions.
Yeah. I think it was the Witch's Song I ran.
We still got to finish that. We haven't finished.
We have. But I think we've done a fair few sessions, fair few hours. So I think I'd found my feet a little bit.
Yeah. Again, your imagination isn't shy. You've got a depth of fancy knowledge in your head.
Yeah.
You know the old world very well. And you came up with a campaign for us, and this was at the height of me listening to Critical Role podcasts. So this was I was the first time we played it. Yeah, again, like you were saying, it's that you're a bit sheepish about it. You're a bit sit there. You're all mates, but it's like I'm not doing a silly voice in front of you because you just take the piss out of me for being silly.
Yeah.
It's like I'm a 30-year-old man. I shouldn't care what you say. But you still, it's just
we're all nerds together.
Yeah. So it's just so we're all a bit sheepish about it all. I mean, I think Nathan, who was playing a high elf.
Yep.
He was just being arrogant, which
he got right into character.
Thing is, sometimes I can't tell if it's him or the character. He's that.
Yeah.
I think that's why sometimes by the end of the game I want to punch him because he's just like.
Is he just being an arse or is he an elf?
Yeah, I can't tell the difference. Even when the game ends, it's like, is he? So he was being really obnoxious and all this. And the first session we had, he was like, because I was yet again I was describing what I was doing instead of playing it out, should we say? Yeah. And in my mind, that's how I fantasy roleplay. I was setting up a scene of what I was doing, and then I would say I would do something like this. Nathan started getting really arsey with me. Yeah, again, don't know if it was him or him being a high elf. So I was like, right, okay, right. This is it. This session is you put in a load of work and homework and doing a load of research and book writing. I think you said you didn't write this. You haven't wrote this much since you left school. This is how much notes and stuff you'd be jotting down.
Because it was I wrote it like a dungeon crawler, which the game system isn't really built for, but I wrote it like a dungeon crawler, and it was meant to be like a one session, one hitter quitter.
Yeah.
You start playing 8 hours later. That's the end of the quest, sort of thing. Yeah.
Oh yeah, because we basically hunkered down in the basement, and that was it. We weren't leaving until this was over, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that obviously doing a dungeon crawler-esque roleplay session, obviously D&D, but in setting the Warhammer universe, makes it a bit easier because it focuses us, but also especially for a beginner group as role players, it gives us a focus on where to go. You're not giving it a massive open world, and we're like, oh, can we go over that way? No, you can go whichever way you want. I'm the one that's stuck as the DM. I'm the one stuck trying to make up a world for you.
Yeah.
So it kind of because otherwise people just stand there and go, I don't know what to do.
What can I do? Where can I go? Anything you want. You do anything you want.
anything.
Yeah.
Yet again, as beginners, that's the hard thing to get out of your mind, because yet again, we've gone from all the Warhammer game types where you're focused on, I've got a rule. This is what the set of rules that I've got to do. This is what I can do. And especially when you've got the cards set out for you for your actions, like, can I do this? Because this is this action. Stop looking at the cards.
Stop looking at the cards. Yeah.
Do it, and I'll tell you what it is to do. I mean, that
Yeah.
obviously helped when I was doing the GMing.
Yeah.
So anyway, you went on to this campaign. We crawled through this dungeon. You were sending us through all these, like, we were going through portals, weren't we? As we were getting into a little, we were going through a section, and then we'd go through a portal into the next section. I can't remember what our goal was, or we were just trying to get out. I can't remember how
you were like following clues, and there was a little sort of like spritey character that would pop up and like give you like riddles and shit, and you were like, so there was so you were like, it was basically, if you can think of it like it was almost like Diablo 3 or Warhammer Quest. It was just a dungeon crawler. When you got to the end, when you'd solved the puzzle, killed the enemy, you were presented with a choice of direction and you took them.
Yeah. So by this time, like, so we got quite far through the dungeon by this point, and we were in this cavern, from what I can remember, and it was like we were on this rickety scaffolding that has, like, it was basically, think of a bridge with multiple layers.
Yeah, the way I described it was, if you've seen the Mortal Kombat film, when there's that fight, when they have that fight with Scorpion, and it's like bamboo scaffolding, but it was in a circular cavern that went up like you're inside a tower, and it was all round the outside, and you had to work your way up round the scaffolding to get out at the top. That was what it was. But it was like bamboo scaffolding, like when Johnny Cage fights Scorpion.
So if anyone gets that reference, well done.
You too like crap 90s films.
You two are old and like crap films. So we're basically working our way up here. We've already fought a load of beasts. We were like, a few of us were on our chin straps. It was kind of like getting close to the thing, and we'd been battling along for quite a while. And we came up. We were going along, and then we came up against some Skaven, and what is it? A gut runner?
It was two gutter runners and an Eshin assassin, a master, whatever you want to call them. It was basically like Death Master Snitch. It was basically him.
So we were like, oh no, here we go. This is going to be a long-winded battle. I mean, our rolls weren't great as well, because you're throwing so many dice at things, you tend to not roll well for myself. You tend not to roll well. So I'm like, right,
you do.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. People are probably spotting a theme here. So anyway, got to this point, and I'm like, right, I've had enough of this. I've had enough. So I was like, right, people were arguing discussing what we were going to do, trying to work out how we're going to get through this, and everyone's like, right, okay. And we drew initiative, and I was like, right, I don't think I got initiative, but I was like, right, give me initiative. I've got a plan. They were like, whilst they were like, well, we don't know what to do because we're surrounded by Eshins, gutter runners and clan Eshin assassin. Yeah, and we're just like, oh no. So again, this is the height of me being in critical role. So I'm like, right, I've got the feel for this. I've got the feel for this acting thing.
Yeah.
So I come up with this whole thing. So I've read through my cards. This is when I was a fire wizard as well.
Yeah.
And I saved up my spells. I think you upgraded us as well for this one-hit wonder as well.
Yeah.
You leveled us up.
I'd like pre-game had leveled your characters up to a point where you were heroes. You weren't just like lowly guys off the street, because it was a one-day event. I wanted you guys to feel like we could do something here. We really are. You're not like the rat catcher. You're not the soldier that's just been kicked out of the army. You are a battle-hardened fire mage and blah, blah, all that sort of shit. Yeah.
So it was like, so we went into this like hard, And even then we were still finding it difficult just because our roles were failing us. I think
Yeah.
Brian, your dad, he was like a skullduggery sort of thief, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was a
And
thief. Yeah.
he kept on falling over and landing in mud, tripping over and
Oh,
throwing.
he fell into a load of sewage at one point.
It was brilliant. It was
Yeah,
brilliant, and he played it well. He went well with it, so
he
he kind
did.
of went all right. And then yeah, so we were faced with like this Skaven, and we were just like, okay, I don't know what's going to happen. So yet again, adult beverages were flowing quite well by this point, so
They were.
I had a lot of liquid courage behind me. So then I just stand up from the table, go right with my cantrip. I untie the binding on the bamboo, not on the scaffolding. With that, the Eshin assassin falls and rolled high for that. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, that happens, right? He's fallen down, so he's on the same level because the multiple levels of these platforms. He goes, yeah, he's on the same level with his camera, and then I just Hadouken fireball these lot, and yeah, again, I had a few more beers in me by this point, so it was flowing quite well.
The funny thing was, from my end of the table, I could just see Nathan and that looking at you, going. You were going.
I was there like building up all this fireball like in my mind, and then just like flaming them like this, all these flaming assassins, and like everyone just like you say, sat back in awe, just go, where the hell has this come from? You've been quiet all this time.
Yeah.
But I was like, no, we're in this now. We're in this role playing stuff. We're doing it. And then you were like, it's some bonus. It's some bonus dice. So he gave me some bonus dice, and I just roll these dice, and I don't think I had one fail on anything.
You didn't.
Everything was panned out well. Because I think even some of Luke and Nathan, they might even thrown in some.
They were assisting. Dice. They were like, yeah, we're going to do this to assist you. Like, yeah,
did that, and I rolled so well. You were just like, you just basically got your pen and just went, well, they're dead. It's like, I was like, what? And you were like, that was supposed to be a battle. It was like go on for like 15 minutes, 20 minutes. And you're supposed to actually fight these guys, but you've role played so well, and you've rolled shit hot that.
The way I remember describing it because you were like, right, you want to use the cantrip to loosen loosen the scaffold, and then you started doing all your theatrics and stuff. So the way I described it was, as you've done it, the Skaven was just like, he was really confused with what this fire was doing. Didn't notice the scaffold was going. Woof, went, and as he was in like his free fall to the next level, you were like, just like blew him out of the sky. But realistically, I think the amount of damage you did to him wasn't enough to kill him. But I was like, you can't top that. What you've just role played and what you've just rolled, you aren't going to top that for the rest of this encounter. So it's like, that's cool enough. That what you've just done is cool enough for this encounter to end. And yeah, that's a really good pick. I like that one. That was good. That was a great moment.
Like you say, in the fantasy role playing thing, you got to give people things, even if it is against your story or anything like that. Like you say, you couldn't have let that happen and then go, right, there's 2 damage to him. And you're like, how many wounds he's got?
Yeah,
he's got 18 wounds left, and you're like, what? Because like you say, there's nothing, and everyone was just like, but I think it's not saying that like how great I am at doing it, but all it takes is a moment like that. Then people perk up and go, right, okay, because Nathan was doing something where he was like throwing daggers and sliding on his knee whilst like shooting off a bow or something. I can't remember what he was doing.
Yeah, like you say, that spurred everyone on to these like, well, I can do this and that, and like from my point of view as the DM in that situation, I thought, like you've said, I couldn't not let that be like the coolest moment ever. Because how disheartening would that have been to the party? You'd have all been like, oh, fucking, what we got to do? What we got to do then to kill this guy? You know what I mean? But because you had like, you led the charge, not only with like your role playing and stuff, but with you saying, making the choices that you made. The choices that you made, they like, Luke and Nathan, then and my dad, like he was he was really sort of in his shell for a bit of it, like because he had never done anything like that before. And
Yeah.
everyone after that was just like, right, I'm gonna backflip off of this, and blah, blah, blah. It all got it was cool. That's a really good pick. I like that one, mate.
Yeah, because I mean, like you're saying, like your dad was the one that was stuck in the rule set because he'd been playing Warhammer,
Yeah,
like on and off for a fair few years more than us, and but he was very focused on the rules, wasn't he? So he's like, I've got.
So every
do
time it came
by
to
the
his
rules.
turn, he'd go right. He'd look down at his character sheet and look at his action cards and stuff, and be like, right, what can I do? So stop looking at the cards. Just tell us what you're gonna say, what you're gonna do, and I'll tell you what I want you to roll.
I was gonna say you took the sheet off of me at one point. I think you
I
like
did,
just stop looking at it.
Stop looking at it. Because but
Yeah.
then it is difficult, like you say, it's difficult to get yourself out of that mindset of like these are the rules and parameters that allow me to play the game.
Yeah.
And when obviously it's not just Warhammer Fantasy roleplay, any roleplay game, you just got to go right, do what we want. And it's really difficult to get yourself out of that mindset. And you know, well, it might not be, but it was for us.
But once you're out of that mindset, it's so much fun.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah.
You're only limited by your imagination at that point. Yeah. Yes. So anyway, that was my number 3.
Brilliant, mate. Great choice.
What's your number 2?
Right, my number 2. Cool. My number 2. The I've actually written down on my thing. My number 2 is called The Life and Times of Varn the Spiteful. And I'll go into that. I'll deep dive into that a little bit. Varn the Spiteful is a Knight of Shrouds on ethereal steed for the Nighthorn, and we played again with our Thursday night gaming club. The 4 of us, we've gone right. Let's get a campaign going. Let's actually do something that means something rather than just like one-off games, which are fun. But let's get something that we can really get our teeth stuck into, get a narrative going. And so we were like, right, should we do? Let's play. What's it called? Path to Glory. And Path to Glory, if you're a competitive gamer, Path to Glory I can see being really quite frustrating because it's not balanced. It's not like you're not gonna, every game isn't gonna be like exactly the same points value for each person. Everyone's got an equal chance of winning, whatever. It's Path to Glory is you're telling the story of your warband. And so I'd gone with the Nighthorn, you'd gone with the Stormcast Eternals. Vinny had gone with, I believe, the what are they called?
What are the armored orcs, not the savage orcs?
I'll think of it in a minute. And Wongo had gone with the Gloomspike Gits. And why can't I think of their name? Vinny had gone with they've got
Ironjaws.
Ironjaws, that's it. Sorry, Vinny was the Ironjaws, and we'd all like picked our leaders, and then you get to pick X amount of units for your leader, and blah 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 blah. And but I named my leader Varn the Spiteful, and for the first half of that campaign, he was anything but. He actually he became he went from Varn the Spiteful to Varn the Flaccid. No, first of all, he was Varn the Spiteful. Then he went to Varn the Tumescent, and then when he sunk even lower, he went to Varn the Flaccid. And
he wasn't doing anything, was he?
There was literally 7 weeks of that campaign. It was seven games in a row. I got stomped into the dirt, and I kept my chin up. I thought, no, I'm telling Varn's story here. Varn something's going to happen. Something's going to happen. He's going to come good at some point. And then, so during that campaign, you earn glory, and you can spend the glory on upgrades for your units and new units, or you get like character upgrades and stuff like that. And I kept rolling up character upgrades, didn't I? And And so over the course of this 7 weeks, I was getting like a really pitiful amount of glory. But then every time I got to roll for something, I would roll on a character trait or a character reward. So over the course of this 7 weeks, it was like a really slow grow. Varn just became a superhero, didn't he? He was just a murderer. And
he was untouched.
Well, by the second half of that campaign, I lost like 7 games on the trot, and then I won. I just kept winning because I didn't. My units were rubbish. Because they were for one they were under strength because I had like Glaive Wraith Stalkers, but they were like 4 of them, and then I had like Chain Rasps, but you could only take them in units of 10. And Chain Rasps, if anyone knows with Nighthorn, you only start getting bonuses from Chain Rasps when they get up to units of 20, and really, you get +1 because otherwise they're just hitting on 4s, wounding on 4s, 1 damage. They got a 5-up save. They're absolute rubbish. And then the Glaive Wraith Stalkers, and again, anyone who plays Nighthawk knows that Glaive Wraith Stalkers are not the best. And so we started getting into the second half of the campaign, and Varn the Spiteful just started getting like so we've gone from Varn the Spiteful, big name at the beginning. He does not live up to that name. He starts to become Varn the Tumescent. Gets even worse, turns into Varn the Flaccid. And then you get to the middle of the campaign and his stock just went. His stock went like his stock was GameStop. It went to the moon. It went to the moon. And he was a murderer. And his sword, he had like 5 attacks. He was -3 rend, flat 3 damage. He was hitting on 3s, wounding on 2s. I think he was re-rolling 1s to hit as well. So he was like, whatever he hit, he just melted it. It's like if you hit him, you could wound him, but then he could heal himself, and then he would hit you back, and you just evaporate. And
that's the thing. You couldn't stand toe to toe with him. So soon as you got into combat with him, or he touched you, that's it. It was literally the touch of death. He would just go,
you're dead.
Yeah. And
you had to one-shot him to get him out, because otherwise he'd just heal himself back up and then just turn around and just slice you in half. And it was. I think then we ended up we've discussed it in one of the previous, one of the other podcasts we did, where we got to the final part of that campaign, the final game. because we all got to a point where any one of us could have won, because you have to have like a certain amount of glory to be eligible to win. And it was like, it was a third game of Triumph and Treachery that we got to. There was all 4 of us playing, and all 4 of us were eligible to win. So the winner of that game ended the campaign. So it was like that person got all the marbles. And you ended up winning it by coming into the game in turn 3, not fighting and not having anyone dead and winning, while the rest of us slaughtered each other.
What you're trying to say is, for the first time ever, we saw the end of a campaign. We'd been doing this for what, 7-8 weeks?
No, it was longer than that, because it was 7 weeks that I was getting my ass handed to me.
Okay.
I think it was easily 3 months. 3 months of playing every week. We played that campaign.
Yeah, so what you're saying is, we played it for that long, and then I tactically sat back, didn't roll a thing, waited for you lot to fight each other, and then just come in at the end with a full undamaged, unwounded force, and then just nuke the lot of you.
Because the winning conditions were basically whoever had the most points left at the end of the battle. And I think I got a bit sort of like, I'm just getting stuck in, and you were like, I'm going to come in now, and you came in slightly after me, which kept you floating above the water level.
But that was it. It was because you and one guy with his gloom spikes had got a vendetta against each other, because he had the the squig mangler.
Oh yeah, the mangler squig. Yeah.
The mangler squig, and him and Varn had a vicious rivalry going on.
They did, yeah. So Varn one-shotted him twice.
Yeah, so he was just like, I want to get him. And then somehow, for some reason, you decided to attack Finney, which made his iron jaws go towards you. Yeah. So I just basically sat there going, I'm going to move a little bit forward. That's my turn over. You're going to attack? No. It's just like, I stayed there. Was that the time?
Sigmar has not willed it yet.
Was that also the time that Finney was going to do, which spell was it that Finney had? Was it the Fist of Gork?
Oh, it was the Foot of Gork.
The Foot of Gork. And he was going to do that on me.
It was before it got FAQ'd and changed, and before the Iron Jaws got their new book. But it was when he could keep rolling 4-ups, and he could keep doing D6 mortal wounds to stuff.
So he was going to do that as well. He was like, right, you've done nothing. Let's do the Foot of Gork on you. was it a 10 or 11 to get it off? Is what?
Oh, was it 10 to get off? I think
10 to get off. And he rolled a 10. He rolled an 11. He goes, right, that goes off because you can't beat me, knowing how bad my roll is. I went,
yeah,
yeah. He went, what? I went, I've got a Night Encounter here. He went, yeah. And I went, she's got a Void Scroll. Bye, spell.
Bye.
He just went.
He looked so disappointed, didn't he?
Yeah, because he was so excited to get it off. He thought that's the Stormcast wiped out. No one.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
no, that Barn the Spiteful.
Yeah,
was a good character.
but that was like that. It was his journey from being absolute dogbed to becoming a superhero towards the end of that, and the fact that he was part of my life for 3 months, and and half of that I hated him, and then I ended up loving him towards the end. But I stuck with him, and he came good. But I suppose I could tie into that. My number 2 pick as well is the fact that it was actually the first ever campaign that we saw out from day one to the end, and it was a lot. It was 3 months. It was of every week, religiously, every Thursday, meeting up, getting 2 games in a night, and we saw it from beginning to end. And I saw that character from beginning to end. And Varn the Spiteful, even the games we play now, where we play like one-off games or whatever, and I play my Nighthorn, he will forever be Varn the Spiteful.
He is Varn. Yeah,
he is Varn the Spiteful.
That model has earned his name.
Yeah.
From now and ever.
Well and truly.
Yeah.
That is my number 2.
That's good. That's good. I mean, Path to Glory. I wouldn't mind doing one of those again. Well, I suppose we've got enough game types we can play, but yeah, it was nice to see it through to the end.
Yeah.
Okay, right. So on to my number 4. Yeah, another quick one because we are chewing. We've done almost an hour and 50, I think, so far.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, my quick one, number 2, takes you back when we were. I think we had two games of AOS going. You were playing Vinny with his. I think did he just get the Ogre Moor Tribe book?
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, he was playing Ogre Moor Tribes. Yeah.
And the dice roll that we had, or the coin toss that we did,
yeah,
he was going to be playing you, and in the gaming garage we got that you're in at the moment, there's enough space to have 2 tables up. So we were like, fine, okay, you 2 play, and then me and Wongo will play, because he was still getting used to his gits, wasn't he?
Yeah, Gloomspite, yeah.
So we had 2 guys there with brand newish books, and they wanted to play them. So we're like, can't argue with that.
Yeah.
Or wouldn't you? So, I mean, we're not cheesy gamers. We don't try to outgame each other. At the beginning, we're very sportsmen with our gaming, because there's no point of having gotchas in this game, is there?
Yeah, we're very open with our lists and what they can do and whatever. Yeah.
So we were like, so we literally go through what we've all got, what spells we've got. If anyone's unsure of what they can do, so if someone says, "What's that character got?" and you name off the special abilities. If you don't know what that is, I may ask you, "What does that special ability do?" You will tell me what it does. You will tell me how when you might get it off. You don't make it a surprise.
This is my general. Watch out, because he can re-roll this, and if you get too close, he can do that. So watch out for that. Yeah.
Like back when Vinny was getting that Foot of Gorkov, and I stopped it with my Void Scroll. I have told him several times that guy's got a Void Scroll.
I've got a Void Scroll. Yeah.
And I make it clear that that's the only Void Scroll in the whole game so far. So it's like, it's a clear point of, if you're going to get a spell off at me, there's a high chance I'm going to
I'm just going to
stop
it.
Yeah. So anyway, coming up against, I was playing Stormcast at this point.
You were?
And I was struggling to decide what list to take against Wongo, because I know he was very tricksy. I've played him a few times, and his leader, the Shaman, is a right git to hit, isn't he? Because he just basically makes you re-roll successful hits, and or he
He's only got 4 wounds, but it's impossible to wound him.
Yeah. If you can take off those 4 wounds, then lucky you. So I was like, right, okay. So I'm an RM, and there was a few things I could take. But at this point, you had Gotrek sat on your paint desk, didn't you?
In fact, mate, he is right there.
There he is.
There he is. Yeah.
You've got Gotrek there, and we were chatting like during the day, going, "Oh, what are you going to take?" It's like, I don't know. I've got this. I could go this way. I could go that way.
Yeah.
And you just happen to pass up and go, "Oh, by the way, if you've got like spare 400 or 500 points, you can." Or no, is it 400 because you can only ally in 400, wasn't it? It was a 2,000 point game. So it's like you can ally in Gotrek.
Yeah.
I was like, ooh, Gotrek, you say? And we haven't seen him play. All we've done is we've heard everything about him. We've heard how brutal he is in combat. So you offered that up. So I was like, no, I can't. I won't take that. That's a bit cheesy.
He is a murderer, isn't he?
Yeah. Well, we found out.
We found out, yeah.
So anyway, I was like, no, I won't take him. So anyway, come game day or game night. We're in the car hole, as you put it.
Yeah.
And I said to one guy, I said, "Oh, what does that guy do? Oh, he's got this. What does that do?" He was like, "You'll find out." I was like, "Well, no, what does he do?" But,
yeah.
You'll find out. Or it'd be really shy. It would be really not shy. It'd be really coy.
Yeah.
Like secretive with something. Because what does that do? Oh, he's got this. What's that? It just does something. You know.
So I do actually remember hearing from your table. I remember hearing you say, "Have you got any endless spells?" And he went, "Maybe." And you went,
"Yeah."
Well, what does that do? And you went, "Stuff." You were like, "Okay, if that's how you want to play it."
Yeah, so like I say, by this point, I've written up 2 lists. One was just full Stormcast, and this other one had Gotrek in it. I was like, fine, you're not going to tell me. I've got Gotrek in it. So he didn't ask me. To be fair, he didn't ask me what I had. I was asking him, and he wasn't asking me. So I was like, okay, fine. So setting up the board. I left him on your paint table as well. I didn't put him on the actual game table when we're doing deployment. So going through the deployment, pocketing things down, I left him to last. And like one guy put his last thing down, I just go, and here's my last guy. He didn't pay attention. It took him like 5 minutes to realise. He looked up and he went, "There's Gotrek on the board." I was like, "Yeah." He went, "Well, I've lost them." He was just like, instantly, "I've lost." It's like, nah, mate. He can't be that bad. We haven't played him.
He only moves 4 inches. We are about.
Yeah, he moves 4 inches. I can't use any of my Stormcast abilities on him. So he's on his own. He's just with my army. He's just fighting alongside me. He can't be that bad. Oh boy, were we wrong. Oh my God, he is such... I can't remember the name of the game type, but the game type is where you had 3 objectives, and at the start of each battle round, you roll the dice, and 1 to 2, it's at objective 1, 3 to 4, middle.
Yeah, one of them becomes the active objective, doesn't it?
Yeah. So you only get 1 active objective during the thing. And we had, what's that? The Storm Vault.
Oh, the Shattered Storm Vault terrain.
Yeah, we had some of that on the board. So in the middle, we had the platform. So we just had the platform, and that was bang on in the middle. So we thought that'd be kind of cool. That one of the objectives was bang on in the middle of the board on this platform. So right, okay. So obviously I put Gotrek in the middle because he only moves 4 inches. So battle starts. First objective is one bang on in the middle. So I'm like, right, he's going up, and he had, was it a 20 or a 30 man squig?
It was 20 squig herd.
20 squig herd.
Yeah.
And obviously with their movement, he managed to get up on the board, up on the objective really quick. I was like, well, I didn't bring him here for just show, did I? Let's see what he can do. So I charged Gotrek charged him in, and oh boy, is he a killer. He wiped out I think because the way they were on the platform, and I managed to get some Stormcast in there as well, but because of the steps, I only managed to get probably 4 Stormcast on the up against him, up against the unit of squigs.
Yeah.
So there's just Gotrek, 4 Stormcast, and in one turn, I managed to wipe out the whole of that. Oh no, I think it was two turns. I managed to wipe out the whole 20 squigs.
Yeah.
Because obviously, I don't know the rules, but for people that don't know squigs, the more you kill, the better it is for you. Because if they flee, they explode, and so basically if the amount that flee, the mortal wounds do. So you want to kill as many as you can.
Yeah.
So there isn't that many to flee.
Because their bravery is like 3 or something stupid. So if they do get into a position where they have to make battle shock, they're gonna fail it, and a load of them are gonna run, and they are gonna bite you on the way out, aren't they? So they do a load of mortal wounds to it. Yeah.
So I'm just like went in there, and just basically nuked the whole lot of them, and he did have a bit of a salt. There was a bit. That's when the Salt Wars started, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah, I have dubbed your rivalry with Wongo the Salt Wars, because when either of you has got one over on the other one, it hasn't just been like, oh, that was a close game, but I beat you. It's been one of you has completely and utterly dissolved the other person. You've just got rid of them completely. And Wongo is a very level-headed, chill person, and I have never seen him so close to just lashing out. he was so salty. It was unreal.
I want to say I felt bad for him, but I didn't. But I did, because I could understand where the situation that he was in. Because this one model had just nuked 20 of his models. I think my Stormcast killed 3.
Yeah.
Say 3. But this one, and then he managed to do. He pumped a load of attacks into Gotrek and did nothing to him.
Yeah.
And he was just there going, "What's the point? What's the point in playing? There's no point in playing."
Yeah.
So I was like, "Mate, you never know. He won't be able to get the 2 other objectives are too far for him to get." I said right now, from now, he is staying in that middle of the board.
Yeah.
So I can't. If I run in one way and then the objective goes the other way, I'm screwed. So I'm just basically running back and forth. So I openly said to him, I said, my objective, what I'm going to do with him now, I'm just basically going to sit him on that middle objective.
Yeah.
So I said, let's carry on. You still got a lot of your army either side, because there's a lot of squig stuff. So let's just carry on playing. Let's see what goes. So at the start of battle round 2, roll the dice, and lo and behold, it's the objective in the middle again, with Gotrek sat on the objective, and his face just dropped. So he was just like, "I'm done.
Yeah.
Nah, that's it." I was like, "Mate, play on." I said, "You didn't tell me what you had. I asked you. You didn't tell me what I had." So I was like, "Fine, I'll take Gotrek."
Yeah.
Or Gotrek. And and I think that point we all went, "Yeah, okay, he's quite very brutal. He is worth every single point."
Every one of those, he's 520 points, and his rule is you can use him in any order army, and he is worth every 520 of those points.
Why you wouldn't take, if you've got spare 520 points? Why wouldn't you take him?
Yeah, he is brutal.
It was So I mean, that was my number 2. It was a bit of a cheesy one, but it was fun because it was an experience for all of us, because we got to see how brutal he is. And I think that's why he's been left on your paint desk for a while now.
He literally just sits on my paint desk up here, just for me to stare at, and he even looks hard, doesn't he? Just like, even though I know that's not in focus and it's tiny, but it's just he just looks brutal. I just keep him sat there just to remind me of that moment.
Bless.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's great. Great number 2, mate. Cool. Okay.
Right.
My number 1. My number 1 is, it goes back to a game that's, I don't know, 25 years old now at this point, I think, was Warhammer Quest, the original Warhammer Quest. And Yeah, the original Warhammer Quest. We've delved into so many dungeons in that game. It's ridiculous. It's great fun. And it was when I was playing a Chaos Warrior. I can't remember my character's name, but we'd had our RPG sheets and everything. We had everything written out and stuff. We'd gone. It was quite a long old session that we'd been playing, and we'd got to we got out of the dungeon, and when in Warhammer Quest 95, you have to roll to see how many weeks you would be on the depending on whether you wanted to go to a city, a town, or a village, would determine how many weeks you were on the road. And so we were like, oh, we want to go to a town, but we didn't want to go to a city because we didn't quite have the minerals to be on the road that long. So we were like, right, we'll go to a town so we get like decent loot when we get there, but we'll also ain't going to be too far to get there, so we will make it. And or so we thought. And
I remember this now.
Yeah, a load of times we ended up rolling, because you have to roll on that D66 chart to see like the event for what would happen. You might get, an uneventful day, so you're one day gets ticked off of your list.
I wish it was that.
Yeah, but I think. Long story short, on what happened on our journey is we, for at least half of it, ended up going, you get lost in the woods. Add 2 more days to it's like, we were on the road for so long that by the time we got to the town, we'd been robbed, we'd been beaten.
Oh, we
up.
were mugs. Yeah, we had stuff nicked off of us.
But I ended up I still had quite a lot of dollar on me by the time we got there. And so like Chaos Warrior, right, I'm going into the town. And I was like, right, I'm gonna have some fun. So I think whilst I was in the town, I ended up going to a bar. I think I won an arm wrestling contest. I got a tattoo of what I was told was a dragon on my back, but it wasn't. It was like a pony or something. I ended up, I got in a fight in the bar, and because of the fight I got into in the bar, I ended up getting arrested. And I gambled as well. I gambled and I won.
Oh yeah.
And because I'd done loads of stuff and ended up getting extra things out of what I was doing. And anyway, at the end of my evening or my week of debauchery of just getting in fights and gambling and getting tattooed and winning an arm wrestling contest, I ended up getting arrested for the bar fight. And then I got put in prison.
Because I was going to say, may I say, whilst all this was going on, the rest of us had been mugged from our money and we had no money to spend.
You couldn't stay in there.
We couldn't, because obviously you got to pay for like living.
You got to pay for your lodgings,
daily expenses. Yeah, so your daily expenses. So like, we barely had enough money between the other 3 of us. We barely had enough money to live there. We couldn't do anything else. By the time we got to, we left this dungeon, we had all these treasures, all these wonders, but yeah, we had nothing. And you somehow managed to hold on to some. And yeah, you were just like, we're like, can we go now? You're like, hang on a sec, I just want to go and get a tattoo. It's like, okay, I got a tattoo. Can we go now? Hang on, let me just go gambling. Okay, right, okay, you've gone gambling. I've just won a load more money. I'm going to go to the pub. Like, we're like,
you lot got kicked out, and I was in prison for 2 weeks, and so you lot had to wait outside in the wind and the rain outside the city limits, whilst I was living it up free of charge, I might add, in the prison.
Yeah. With your new donkey tattoo and
and then by the time I came out of the town gates at the end of it, like, wow, that was a good weekend, boys. And you were like, nah, we've just been out, we've done nothing.
We're shivering cold like wrecks of people just go, oh, didn't Nathan end up with 2 dogs as well? You got 2 strays.
Yeah, he ended up with 2 stray dogs,
which you have to then pay for to have. So he walks away with 2 stray dogs, which he didn't want because he just has to pay money for them.
I'm fairly sure as well, you can't kill them, and if they die, you have to pay for their funeral, and it's 1,000 gold.
Yeah, because they're only with you. They're with you for a certain amount of game days, aren't they?
Yeah,
and then they bugger off. But we you didn't make many friends that game, I don't think, because we were still fuming.
Yeah,
no,
I had a lovely time.
You son of a.
I just remember, that was just like, for about half an hour of in real life time, I was like, wow, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. And you lot were like, hurry up. Hurry up, yeah.
Yeah, again, we had the beers flowing on that one, so we were just going around because it's like just getting. Look,
Everyone was like
drinking,
nipping off to the toilet or having some more pizza or whatever.
Was it that session? Because when I was playing a knight, wasn't I? Or was that a different session when I was playing a knight?
You were thinking of a different session where you were playing a Bretonnian knight, and you were the worst Bretonnian knight that has ever existed in all of the old world.
Was it? I went up to the castle to get let in to like show my nobility, and I was like, yes, hi, I'm Sir Paulus of Woodnomius. Let me in. I would like to see the owner of the keep. And basically, you roll your dice, and it came up saying that they've never heard of you. They don't know where you are, and they tell you to bugger off.
I'm fairly certain, though, Paul, that you'd walked up to the gate in just your underwear and boots because your armor had been blown off you.
Yeah, that was it. So yes, hi. I'm just in my pants. Hi.
Yeah, they're like, yeah, see you
later.
Go on, mate.
Yeah,
jog on.
Yeah. All right, mate. Go back to like your mental institute. Like, oh.
But mate, that my weekend, my mad weekend as a Chaos Warrior was that's my number one pick. That was such a great time.
Better than going to Vegas, wasn't that, mate?
It was. Although all it did was it was just half an hour sat in the dining room, drunk, and I had the best time ever.
Yeah, you had an imaginary tattoo.
The funny thing is, though, it sounds like something that I would do.
Yeah, it's not.
I didn't role play. I just told you of something that I might do.
That's the thing. I know that's very true.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Okay. Right. So we have rattled on a bit, mate. Right. Okay. My final one. To wrap this session up, it's going to be a bit of a soppy one. A bit of a heart-filled moment.
Okay.
So I apologize for this, but it's basically the best moments of my playing Warhammer career is the times when we could actually play them. You know, the moments all the moments we spoke about. This whole lockdown, this whole thing that we've been going through. I know it's kind of a mundane thing to get worried or not worried about, but miss. It's just seeing your mates, sitting down with your mates at a table, throwing some bones across the table, seeing, just rolling dice and having a laugh.
Yeah.
And so basically we've just spent the last 2 hour, 10 minutes or something, 2 hours talking about memories of how we remember how we played, because we haven't managed to play for quite some time now.
Yeah.
And that's basically that's my best Warhammer experience is the fun, the memories, the enjoyment that you can get away from this. I mean, I know, like, obviously, again, we are very in for the role playing aspect, in for the narrative, and we don't go for the competition sort of like players. They must still miss it. It's still the memories of getting in the games, and it's a good excuse to hang out with your mates.
Yeah,
that's how I see it. And that is like my number one pick for this is the times that you can play. You don't realize how good you got it until it's taken away from you, basically. And I think this has been a massive eye opener for a lot of people, is that the times when you think, oh, I can't be asked to go around and play, you've had a hard day at work. It's nice to go around and eat. Like most of the times when us four meet up in our like casual gaming group, we don't play until gone late because we're too busy nattering and talking about our lives, what's gone on at work. I mean, we've got families, we've got young kids, so we're chatting about them and whatnot. Yeah. So it's more than just pushing toys around the table for us, and I'm sure it's for a lot of people. And so like I say, it is the grand scheme of just meeting up with friends, and you didn't realize how much you're going to miss it until it's taken away from you. And I think this is what a lot of people are going to open up their eyes to it all.
Would I be accurate in saying that your number one pick for Warhammer experience is Warhammer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The best thing about Warhammer is Warhammer.
Is Warhammer, yeah.
And all the things that it brings. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it is. It's, I mean, when we first got back into this, I mean, we hung out anyway. We hung out as friends. We did other things. But this has given us a reason to have that Thursday night gaming session, where we say to the ladies like that, honey, I'm out playing.
Yeah.
Our wives know. They know, like, oh, what the boys are playing Thursday night. We've put that in stone now. So like, this is it.
Thursday night is Warhammer night. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, it's good. And I mean, we did try to do a few games with Underworlds. We tried to do that over video call. We tried doing the I mean, even fantasy roleplay works over video call. But like you said earlier, it's not the same as being sat around a table with your mates, playing for hours, or just chatting. So yeah. So yeah, like
I really like that one. That's a good one.
It's a bit of a soppy one, but I think it's a nice way to end this, because I mean, this is why we are both sat in front of our paint tables. I mean, I know my paint pile has like doubled because I've actually, you know, been sat here doing it.
Yeah.
And plus, then it gives us something to look forward to when we're out of this, which should hopefully, fingers crossed, everything be soon. But yeah, so.
That was a good one, mate. I like that. I wouldn't say that was soppy. I'd say that was a very good way to end the. It was a good way to.
I promised myself I wouldn't cry. But yeah, no, that's like
you're my special boy.
So I think we were going to go on to some honourable mentions, but like I said, this has been 2 hours of chatting.
Yeah, we've probably been prattling on a bit long, and I'm sure at some point, I mean, we will prattle on again about more things.
Yeah. And if anyone has made it to, I think we kind of forgot this. We can.
Oh, I forgot we were recording. I was just talking to you.
I mean, if anyone is watching this and has made it this far, I know we're just talking about stuff that we've done. I mean, if there's anything that you've done or anything, you know, any memories that you have of your gaming stuff, you know, let us know. I mean,
drop it in the comments. That'd be cool. Yeah, we can have a chat about it. That'd be cool.
Has anyone actually killed Gotrek? Has anyone actually managed to do that? I want to know.
Yeah, has anyone killed him on the table? I've seen it happen in a couple of battle reports.
Yeah, but they're probably fixed, mate. They're fixed.
Yeah, they've rigged it. They've rigged it.
Yeah.
Okay, mate. We'll wrap it up there then. And so thanks. Like you said, Paul, anyone who's made it this far, thanks for watching. And we will catch you next time.